and welcome to the Whole Life Matters podcast. I am Rin Kush with Young Pro-Life Democrats. We are high school and college-age individuals committed to being the progressive voice for life as we advocate for universal human rights and push for a consistent life ethic within the Democratic Party. Today we welcome Yolanda Flowers to speak to us about her campaign for the governor of Alabama. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, I'm glad I was able to do it.
Yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing and then how you got to Alabama?
Okay. Well, I was born here in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Born in Birmingham, Alabama. Born and raised. I attended Woodlawn High School here. Graduated in 1978 at the age of 17. And I decided that fall that I wanted to get away.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to leave Alabama. I just didn't like, a lot of things that was going on. I just didn't. Although my parents shielded me from a lot of the civil rights, movement and all of that because I was the youngest. But my siblings, I tell you, my siblings would come home and I just some horrific stories. But those things just stayed with me, just to hear of cross burnings and everything in the yards and they witnessing it. And some of the guys there, the white guys there, at that time, the blacks could only work in the kitchen. They couldn't be a waiter or anything like that, a server. But so they really they wanted to kill him, so they chased him in. And so that things like that was very fearful for me. But when I graduated, then that was the era of so. But still, a lot of that, and I just wanted change. I wanted different. I just had to get away. And I spent most of my adult life in Tennessee. That's where I met my husband and raised my children, but my heart was still here. I still wanted home. And of course, I was blessed, we were blessed to come back and home, visit my parents about 2 or 3 times a year. And I, still didn't see much, I didn't see much change and still would hear all of the disparities and everything. So, but anyway, out of my union, we had 3 children. And out of my 3 children, they had like 9 children.
Man.
And see, my husband from another relationship before he met me, had ended up with a granddaughter. So we have, and we, I guess you can say, inherited 2 other children that we rescued from their mother who was on drugs, and all of the children were taken away. So we took those boys in, and through the legalities through the court system, and they became ours. So the one of the brothers, there are 2 boys, and it was a total of 6 of them. So we have like 12 grandchildren, okay, and 5 great grands. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Sure, you're very proud.
You know what, I am. God has blessed me. Although those children, oh Lord, you know what, but I wouldn't take anything for them. I'd rather have them and fuss than not have them, and be lonely. So I am totally grateful. While I lived there in Tennessee, I when I told you that I left at the age of 17, when I graduated, I attended Maryville College. Okay, now and that's when I attended that for like a year, and then I just like, oh, I'm, why did I start school? I should have just given myself a break. So I just chose another path, and that's when I met my husband. And after I raised my youngest child, got him to like a junior or
Mm-hmm.
so in high school, I decided I wanted to go back to college. So at that time, I was like 40,
Yeah.
42, somewhere along in there. So and that was something that's, I guess in that time it's a lot of, what did you call, what's the term you call when uh, older people go back to school? No, I guess non-traditional college
Yeah.
students. I guess that's something like that. But anyway, it was a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, a great learning experience for me, and I was able to, uh, obtain my an associate's
Mm-hmm.
in speech, a bachelor's degree in audiology, and a master's in rehabilitation counseling. The bachelor's and the master's was obtained through the University of Tennessee of Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and I worked as a speech therapist. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, working in the school system. I started out for my first 3 years of training of schooling. I served as a reading instructor,
Mm-hmm.
and where I worked with at-risk children who were failing, couldn't read,
Mm-hmm.
teach them phonics and the sentence structure and the sounds, even that letters make, and all of those, those basic things. It seems like it's lost, that's
Yeah.
how I was taught how to read. But anyway, so I did that for the first 3 years. And then once I attended UT, I served as a speech therapist assistant. I would go in, I work with the students. Um, I didn't do the
Amazing.
testing, but I did everything else, to get
Yeah.
them ready for the testing. And that I did that for a few years, and then I realized, well, I'm not going to have time to do all of that and go to obtain my master's to
Mm-hmm.
work on that because of the schedules. I had classes in the morning,
Yeah.
some at night, so it was just very hard. But it was very, very good. And I'm still working with, students. Um, I served also as a transition facilitator for the state of Tennessee before I obtained my employment through the state. But
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a transition facilitator through the University of Tennessee Center on Disabilities and Employment. And that entailed me working with special ed teachers
Yeah.
to help them, formulate, I guess you can say, working with them in the IEPs
Mm-hmm.
and with students. And it's something how all of that just it was just a
Yeah.
domino effect. It just affected everything, even to the vocational. And I sit back and I think, and I said, wow, Lord, you orchestrated that. So
Mm-hmm.
even when I became a vocational rehab counselor for the state of Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
I still continue to work with students in special ed, with the teachers,
Yeah.
so that the students can have a smooth transition from school to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was able to work with adults as well. A lot. That was the main
Yeah.
thing right there was, working with people with disabilities
Yeah.
and advocating for them. And yeah, so it was very rewarding and fulfilling. A lot of work, but it was still at the end of the day, you feel good that you helped somebody. Yeah.
Amazing. So you do all that and then you go back to your master's. So what made you want to go back and get your master's after?
Well, really, to tell you the truth, I my aim was to become an audiologist. Okay,
Mhm.
I love medicine. I love that. But when I got to thinking, I said, I'm so tired of going to school. I said, oh Lord, I just couldn't see myself going for another 5 years
Yeah.
up in, my audiology, my
Mhm.
doctorate in that. I said, I'm tired. I'm getting old, so I'm going to stop right here so I can work a little bit, before I had to retire. I said I need to do that. I didn't want to be a professional student, so um, but that was my goal. I said, well, at least I can get my master's and be able to uh, feel pretty accomplished and find a job that is still geared toward, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like in the medical field still,
Yeah.
But I really wanted to be a doctor. Yeah, I thought about all of that. I was like, well, yeah, but I just didn't want to go to school forever. I was in school for like 10
Yeah.
years. That was a
It's a lot of
long
school.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you're going into the political world. And so what made you want to transition into that world?
Well, because of still go back what I said earlier,
Hmm.
still seeing the disparities out of all of these years, I still see this dissimilarities, you have this dividing line of the railroad track, and on the left side, homes are nice. On the right side, I mean, just the railroad track.
Man.
It's such a difference, and I see that in the administration here in the city. The mayor and all. Well, why are you putting more emphasis on Mountain Brook and
Yeah.
Homewood, and not little old Woodlawn or
Mhm.
Avondale, in certain parts of Woodlawn? Even it's just a street, a
Yeah.
difference. It just makes no sense. So, and I'm so tired of that. And I say that it's just a product of how sick Alabama is. I say that she has a malady. I call it Alabama a she, a her.
Mhm.
And I say she has a malady. And that's the malady is the discrimination, the uh, lack of civil rights,
Yeah.
and the disparities, inequality, unfairness, um, just all of that. It's just it's like it's time to stop. Aren't you just tired of being sick? Aren't you just tired of not?
Yeah.
And then when I see no one stepping up or see someone not well not stepping up, you
Yeah.
know, not stepping up, and they have such a negative, nothing positive coming out of them. There's nothing going to change and all blah blah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, just, and that's sad. Either they're so tired and or just don't have enough fight in them, or they just don't care.
Yeah.
So either way, it's not good, because if you want change, you have to fight for it, right?
That's
And
right.
I think about those who have fought for justice, even during the slavery time. How we had the abolitionists and those who worked with the escapees, the escaped slaves to freedom.
Yeah.
They saw the need for change, and
Yeah.
they upheld the preamble that all men are created equal.
Yeah.
So I say, if they can do
Hmm.
it, the fight is not over. It's not over. It's not over until everybody is free.
That's
And
right.
you can't have one sect of people that are free, or one party, and not the other. You
Yeah.
know. So it's just, wait a minute, baby. I'm
Miss
on.
Pullum said,
Miss
come on.
Who?
Miss Pullum said, come on.
Come on, tell her I am on a interview. I told them that. Oh my goodness. Okay. No interruptions. No more interruptions. She could bring the paper to me. I'm so sorry.
You're
It,
good.
yeah. So, so that is what I hear the cry.
Hmm.
I just hear the moanings, and I'm I'm just so tired of it, you know.
Yeah,
So I now wanted that for you all, you know.
yeah,
You're like my grandchildren's age, you know,
yeah.
and got to have change. It just got to be better. Got to be better.
Right. And so you mentioned that there's like a dividing line. Actually, there's been some news of Alabama recently and like federal news because of the voting jurisdictions for
Hmm.
congressional districts. And
Hmm.
there's only one majority Black voting district.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court blocked the ruling for there being two. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
It's my thoughts on that. Well, you know, it's still to me, I see disenfranchisement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see that you taken our rights away.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to have a voice in all the districts, you know, in every but and it's something, it's crazy how it just bunch you up in one little group or pen, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, cattle or something, and it's just wrong. I don't agree with it. It would have been so much better if we could have had more um, another district. At least it would give us more of a geared more toward a balance. You know, I don't see proper checks and balances, you
Yeah.
know, right there. It's still the same thing. And that's just the conservatism part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, conservatism doesn't want to change. You
Yeah.
know, you want to keep doing the same thing. Oh, see, Einstein insanity thing. You want to keep doing the same thing over and over again
Yeah.
and expecting what different results. That's insane.
Yeah.
Still another implication of how sick Alabama is
Mm-hmm.
when a person, I mean, you think physically,
Yeah.
when a person is sick,
Mm-hmm.
really, if they have a migraine headache, seems
Mm-hmm.
like everything shuts down. You can't think, you don't want to function, you don't want to do anything, you know. And
Yeah.
that's how I see, you know, Alabama, but I see her more deeper than just that. I see her as a feral woman, just
Mm-hmm.
feral, you know, running wild, don't because of the pain, you
Yeah.
know, can't think, can't properly function because that's how sick she is.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
Yeah. So your like slogan for your running campaign is Reconstruct Alabama, right? And your three main points were education, healthcare, and criminal justice reform. Is that correct?
And economy.
And economy.
So I
Okay,
have four.
so let's talk about education first. So you have worked a lot in education, specifically
Mhm,
with special needs and with
mhm,
all students. So
mhm.
how has that affected what you're running on, and how has that affected your beliefs on education?
Because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've worked in there. I mean, hands-on. And you know, and I see the differences from when I taught in Tennessee and the differences here. We have, and I worked more mostly really here with urban children, you know, African American, Hispanics, you know, and the poor whites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I worked. And I see such a disconnection. It's just like night and day. Okay. It's and what I'm seeing is, you know, children are coming in with dysfunctional. Everybody has, you know, family is pretty much dysfunctional. Going to
Mm-hmm.
have some dysfunctionality in it, but in the African American community or the marginalized, I'm going to say just the marginalized because that covers all the little areas that we see a lot of hurt and pain.
Yeah.
Okay. it is something so, oh Lord, heart-wrenching when a child is disturbed because they saw a dead body in the road, you know. And see, and here you have to deal with that. Okay.
Mhm.
That's an emotional thing. Or dealing with, say, a single mom
Yeah.
and has brought in a boyfriend. Okay. But you have children that are not grown, but they're, you know, fourth, fifth grade, up to middle school. And they are having issues with that because this grown man is not working. So they bring
Mhm.
all of that woe in their lives to the classroom.
Yeah.
And then you have the teachers having a difficult time trying to manage
Mhm.
uh, the dynamics of the classroom, okay, because of the children having their issues. You can't teach
Yeah.
because you're trying so busy um, correcting and maintaining, okay. And then on another hand, I've seen it where there are teachers that aren't shouldn't be teachers. Just gonna, you know, you took the degree, you
Yeah.
took the study, but certain things, teaching is a ministry to me. Teaching
Mhm.
is a social service.
Yeah.
Um, if you can't do it, whatever, if you're too old, I had to tell one teacher, fellow colleague,
Mhm.
well, honey, because she complained and she was just so, I said, well, it says to me that you need to retire. You have done your 20 plus years. And if these children are getting on your nerves so badly, it's time for you to go. And
Yeah.
then when I said that, she said, oh, no, no, no. I said, well, you're going to have to do one or the other,
Yeah.
better what you're doing or stop complaining,
Yeah.
stop complaining and accept those children, accept it for what it is.
Mhm.
Do something different. I strongly believe that the atmosphere of a classroom is predicated upon the teacher.
Yeah.
Soon as that teacher come in, when that student, well, that teacher should be at the door. You don't see
Mhm.
much of that. Okay. I didn't. I didn't. I was able to see down the hallway, you know,
Mhm.
even the hallway. Some teachers had theirs together. The room was smelled good, was
Yeah.
clean, had the music going, a couple of them, and then over on across the way, junky and just not clean. You see that plays a great big part. So I was able to see
Mhm.
those dynamics, and being there because I was able to see it. My plan is, we a teacher's got to bring it on. That her A game is making it pleasant
Mhm.
simply because the children need pleasance.
Yeah.
They need an atmosphere that is different from their own,
Mhm.
that they come from and have to go to every day.
Yeah.
They need to know that their teacher cares
Mhm.
enough. And playing music therapy is so important.
Yeah.
Um, ensuring that the classroom smells good. Love
Mhm.
you too, baby, is so important. Making sure that clutter, everything is put in its place
Mhm.
because study shows that if there's clutter, there's confusion, really.
Yeah.
You can't focus, you can't think. So I see that and that's, being a governor,
Mhm.
that's what I'm striving for. As a governor, that is one thing I would like to implement,
Mhm.
put in the plan and ensuring that a committee will see to that being
Yeah.
done. And not only that, I stress psychological evaluations, a
Mhm.
psychological evaluation for every student,
Yeah.
every student. By the time that child is 5 years old, all of these learning disabilities, everything should be in place, should be
Mhm.
able to be detectable.
Yeah.
The plan will include, like I said, the psychological, but and that will be a psychologist
Mhm.
in place at every school, not where a psychologist will, child psychologist will leave from one school and transfer to other. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just going back and forth, and you do a few hours here, and then you have to go to another school. We need in-house. We need in-house. So, and the psychological evaluations, I think, should be also prevalent for our teachers. If
Yeah.
you're going to enter the program, we need to see where you are,
Mhm.
um, you know, mentally. Can you handle rambunctious or disturbed children, urban children, children that's, poor rural children? It doesn't matter. Can you handle this? So we need to have that in place at the beginning of
Yeah.
the program, and then midway, see
Mhm.
it. Well, are you still doing it? And definitely by the time before they, when you're doing your student teaching, they
Mhm.
need to have something in place
Yeah.
as like an exit
Yeah.
psychological to still see if you have the heart, because these you will be dealing with children with problems, with issues.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, the psychological evaluations, every child will have an IEP, that's individualized education plan, so that that child can, the teacher can help
Yeah.
implement a good curriculum for that child. You
Yeah.
know, it is hard trying to work with a student who has dyslexia,
Mhm.
and you think all this time that the child is just lazy.
Yeah.
We need to be able to pinpoint that from the very beginning, or to work with a child who has central auditory disorder.
Mhm.
Can't, because these things are, he's seeing things a different way, and he's hearing things differently. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's kind of like a little dyslexia, but it's not, registering is registering differently,
Yeah.
because the way you hear. So all these things are very prevalent. It's very important that teachers need to know,
Yeah.
and having that in plan. And that's going to cost money.
Yeah.
And so in that plan, I am pushing for a lottery, pushing forth to bring the lottery here. I'm a product of the lottery. I was able to benefit while I lived in Tennessee,
Mhm.
uh, of my first few years of college. Okay.
Wow.
And that helped us. My husband made too much money for me to qualify for the Pell Grant,
Mhm.
but it was like not quite enough to
Yeah.
pay for my college, and my and take care of the household, and
Yeah.
because we still had one more child in school. So try to do that. So that the lottery will help a lot of that, as well as the infrastructure,
Mhm.
of the city, of the state,
Yeah.
even, you know, and that's, the water system here is getting very, very poor, very
Mhm.
bad. Our rivers and lakes are being poisoned by chemicals. People in certain uh, dissimilar areas
Mhm.
are suffering. They're contracting cancer because of the plants that they live around.
Ew.
So it's, so lottery, that's within the plan,
Mhm.
uh, that I want to bring about for the state.
Yeah. So you talk about the lottery. How does that, can you explain to that in simple terms of what the lottery is and how you would implement that?
I see the lottery as it is a plan of um, economics, okay, of bringing money in
Okay.
to help fund where the citizens are being taxed so much. You
Yeah.
know, that tax will be alleviated, like on food.
Mhm.
That would be alleviated, where we wouldn't have to pay for the taxes,
Yeah.
even like on gas,
Mm-hmm.
that will cut it. That will also bring jobs in, that the lottery will help broadband in
Mm-hmm.
our rural counties. Okay. The lottery, that money can, along with the money we get from the federal government, can help um, fix the sewer system. Okay, the
Yeah.
sewer is just terrible. When it rains, everything backs up just like a backed up toilet. It backs up everywhere. And not only that, fix the pipes. Where people, when they walk out of the yard, walk into uh sludge, where there's septic, just poop in the yard. Okay, to make it, that's the only word I could think of. That stinks. That's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We you shouldn't have to have that. You
Yeah.
shouldn't even. I mean, why? Especially in the city.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have that. No one, even in the rules, shouldn't have to undergo anything like that. So it would take care of it. It would help the small businesses.
Mhm.
We're bringing all of that money in. It will help us sustain,
Yeah.
even for our healthcare. It will help us sustain.
Yeah. So you mentioned healthcare too. So what else with healthcare are you planning on if elected?
Well, oh yes, and thank you for asking that. I'm approaching senior citizenship. I mean, I get some benefits, but I'm hoping and praying they don't keep up in the the age where I'm technically a senior citizen at 67 when I'm at
Yeah.
62. But expanding Medicare, Medicaid, expanding that, that will help our children
Yeah.
as well as our senior citizens. Okay. And it was good for those who cannot afford health care because of minimum wage being so low here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been paying, I mean, getting 725, been earning 725 for like 13 years. That's ridiculous.
That is.
I
Mhm.
believe that President Biden, but I agree with him when he said that he want and he believed that $15 is a good
Yeah.
minimum wage across the nation,
Yeah.
you know, and I agree with him because, everything is going up, but
Yeah.
you're not getting paid. You're not
Yeah.
getting enough
It's not
money to,
fair.
to cover those high prices. That you see, that's just like you killing your own people. You're
Yeah.
starving your people. That is not, oh my God, that is not fair.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can understand when you have money, when you're rich, when you're a conservative, when the Republicans, a lot of them have to admit it, have a lot more money than us poor little Democrats. But that's beside the point. You got to look at the whole scope of the thing.
Yeah.
Just because you're rich does not mean you have to neglect the poor.
That's right.
Okay, that's not fair. Even though God says the poor you're gonna always have with you until He comes back. Okay, but we have to take the rich. It's duty bound. That's the civil right. That's their civil duty, should I say?
Yeah.
Civil duty to take care of the poor,
Hmm.
to take care of the homeless, take care of the fatherless and the widows. We should do that. We should do that.
Yeah, for sure. Another pillar is criminal justice reform of your campaign. So, what are your plans on that? I know you've talked some about the disparities within education and within healthcare and even like voting, but what are some disparities within the criminal justice?
Oh, yeah, it's so disproportionate.
Hmm.
It's so unfair. We see a lot of racial profiling.
Yeah.
Find a lot of that here in the South. A lot of that in the South.
Mhm.
Um, Racial profiling, gender profiling. Oh God, that is, female women, you know. And you think about these rights. A lot of these laws have been, infringed just against female rights. women's rights, gender rights,
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I mean, it's just, and these laws are constructed or written by men
Yeah.
who who just don't care, don't understand. I don't know if they living in a fantasy world or they're out of world thinking or what have you, but it's so disproportionate in the criminal, the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of African American men and as well as women being profiled, being discriminated against. And so many have uh, been unjustly
Yeah.
incarcerated without looking and doing the research. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I'm gonna share this with you. I was. Are you from this area? I want to ask. Are
I
you
am
from?
from Oklahoma, so
Okay.
similar
Okay.
thing,
Okay.
similar issue.
So, okay. Oh Lord, it's across the board.
Yeah.
So my husband and I, we were up in a little area, a little town, part of Birmingham. It's
Mhm.
called Centerpoint, and there were four young men. No, I think it was four black men, not doing anything. We were behind them, you know, and they were not speeding. They weren't doing anything. Just but a policeman got behind them, pulled them over, and they weren't doing anything.
Mm.
And then I said, oh Lord, and immediately I just got fearful
Yeah.
because I was like, Father, please don't let there you know, anything go wrong. I
Mm.
pray for the policeman that he will be just
Yeah.
and not incarcerate those young men, not call him back up and and just make an ugly scene. And see that frightens me
Mhm.
because I see it often, you know. Um, it's like they can't and they're not breaking the law, you
Mm.
know.
It's so true.
I and I've seen a woman, she was going to church,
Hmm.
had her grandchildren. The cop pulled her over and she immediately started screaming because she was just so afraid, thought that man was gonna shoot her. You see, things
Yeah.
like that. We shouldn't have to live in
You shouldn't
fear.
have to live in fear.
No, by those who's supposed to protect us.
Hmm.
Um, and I know there are good cops, there are bad cops. All the
Yeah.
police force are not bad. I mean, they're not. I mean, it's and
Hmm.
then they have here in Alabama, they've voted, the legislators have voted to um, and pass this bill to where you can purchase a gun. You don't have to have a permit. And so here, the good out, the so what do? You kind of
Yeah.
like beckoning, you just calling for a civil war.
Yeah.
And the cops can't do it. If the cops, what if that gun that this person purchased was part of a murder,
Yeah.
you know, here, but they're saying, but you can't check to see if they have a license or permit.
Yeah. That's just not wise.
It's
When
not
you pass that
wise
bill.
at all. And but still, that goes to show the sickness of Alabama.
Mhm.
So if the head is sick, it's just going to run rampant throughout the body. Yeah.
Yeah. You've mentioned God a couple times, and so you've been very vocal about your faith in your campaign and in your social media presence. So tell me about how your faith has affected your campaign and your beliefs, and has there been any challenges with that being so vocal?
Well, I had been a couple of challenges, but just that you have to expect that. If you One thing though, it has made me have my heart is just like it's kind of like the Grinch. You know how when he just hear the people singing, no matter how or how he just came and took all the presents and they're still gathering around this
Yeah.
no tree and they're still singing because they're happy
Mm-hmm.
and his heart swells. But and being able just to post and to just talk about it. I mean, I don't talk about it to people, like I have a whole rap session or
Mm-hmm.
I'm preaching or anything. Just to be able just to share my faith, but my heart has gotten bigger, it's
Yeah.
swollen. Where I'm just like, oh, I'm just so in love with this. Like you, I could just fall on your neck and just hug you and kiss you like I've known you. That's. I mean, I just feel just so connected,
Mm-hmm.
more so than I have ever been. Although I've worked,
Yeah.
as a secretary, and I try to be uh, a present neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
But my heart and being able to meet and talk with the homeless is, I
Yeah.
mean, oh my goodness, giving out food, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
kindness. It makes your
Yeah.
heart swell. It makes your heart swell. But yeah, but the challenges I had, yes, it was a question, do you believe in church, separation of church and state? and the first thing I said, no. and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, but hold on, let me tell you why. I have to explain why. First, it's not in the First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even mentioned. But I shared with them that He is authority. He is
Mm-hmm.
government. You can't separate God from government. That goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the question is, well, what if what it states in the establishment clause in that First Amendment,
Mm-hmm.
because that was put in there after the fact, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But they put it in there stating that the federal government cannot tell you
Mm-hmm.
how to worship God, how to worship, okay,
Yeah.
or when to worship. It also states, the reason why it's there, that it is still, you can use religion in politics, but you
Mm-hmm.
cannot use religion as the focal point of creating the laws
Yeah.
or, those things. And another thing that I thought it was so important, and this was incumbent for the church,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And I'm glad it put it like that. If the church doesn't do what she's supposed to do
Mm-hmm.
for the, assistance of the poor and the sick or whatever, or even taking care of their own,
Yeah.
the state is going to have to come in
Yeah.
and do that. So in other words, it's making sure, checks and balances, is
Mm-hmm.
making sure that the church is going to do what the church said that they will do.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I don't think a lot of people understand that,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the First Amendment. A lot of people are mostly thinking that I don't want the government to tell me and it's not, the government is not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
According to the First Amendment, they will not do that. Well,
Yeah.
according to that establishment clause, it will not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just do what you're supposed to do. You can't talk about your faith.
Yeah.
You think about the Constitution. You think about there are so many religions here.
Yeah.
America has opened up her arms and have invited everybody in,
Mm-hmm.
to where you have some Muslims that they at 12 o'clock they're gonna fall down and they're gonna worship. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have their time of worship, every day,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the appointed time, or those from India. See, that's the beauty of America. One of the beauties. But it still has so much that has to be
Mm-hmm.
developed and be perfected,
Yeah.
because we're still so separate. We're still so separate.
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't be separate, We can't stand. We're not strong when we are apart,
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's about the only thing. It's just like, well, hey, if that's all, can handle that. But I talk about God because I understand the dynamics of God and government, that they go together, and that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Everything, you and I, everything belongs to Him, on this planet. Yeah.
Well, I only have one last question for you.
Okay.
We, as young pro-life Democrats, we want to know how, if I have listeners that want to know if they can help you in any way, what would it be to help your campaign?
I need funding.
Mm-hmm.
I need funding. I need to get the word out. I need everybody to know, about me. Yolanda she's for life, She's for love. She's for the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
I believe in everybody deserve, if not the whole pie, deserve a slice of pie.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves happiness. Everybody deserves equality, fairness, justice. And I got to get the word out.
Yeah.
The funding has been a drop here, a drop there, But I need, and what I see amongst the Democrats, it seems like a lot of us, the party is asleep. We're not as alive as we used to be.
Yeah.
In times past, and and we need you all to be able to be so vocal, and we got to give you all that fire to be vocal. This little slothful state, the slumber, and that's exactly what God said. And I'm just telling you what He said. He said, they're asleep. And I said, yeah. And so we got to wake up the Black Democrats, the white Democrats, everybody got to stand up for democracy, got to stand up and fight and defend the rights.
Yeah.
Got to. So I just
so
voice. If you would just put it across the airways, I don't care. But I just need it. I need it to be out there where the world can see, hear the noise, kind of like in Whoville, or is it Horton? Horton, you hear everybody, and they're working so Horton can prove to his people that there are some folks there. We need that. The biggest megaphone ever.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time and speaking with me. It's been such an honor.
It's been an honor to me as well. Thank you. You're just so cute. How old are you?
I'm 16.
Hey! I was kind of close. I was going to say that. She's probably 17, but yeah. But you are so cute. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Have an amazing day.
Oh, I will. And you too have an amazing weekend, a fabulous weekend, okay? Yes. All right. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Whole Life Matters podcast. I am Lynn Koch, and we are Young Pro-Life Democrats. You can find us on Instagram and on our website at ypld.democratsforlife.org. Be sure to join us again as we learn more about whole life issues.